Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. A brand new video talking about a very familiar subject as we went ahead and played another away day, so you know exactly what that means. Whether you watch the game or no, you know every little detail about this game, the way it unfolded. Defensively, we were a shambles. The tactics and structure was just completely non-existent and all over the place. The substitutes were maddening and made zero sense, and we were overly reliant on the individual brilliance of the likes of Cerny and Igamane, just punting them balls and hoping and praying their individual quality is enough to carry us through another horrific away day. It's the exact same stuff, it's the exact same talking points, and it's the exact same result, which simply isn't good enough. And look, we've spent not only a lot of time this season being frustrated and annoyed and devastated away, but many years we've seen some horrific results and it's been a punch in the face, and you sit there spewing at games. You know what I mean? You've got the old fire coming off the top of the Nasher like you're in the Hercules animation, but honestly, I'm not there anymore. I'm still devastated, but not in the same way anymore because I became numb to it. And I don't know if that makes sense to any other Rangers fan that's currently watching, but see the fact that we dropped points the day Disney surprised me. We arguably stole a point and grabbed a point. That's how far we are falling, that you've got to talk about a game, no disrespect, versus Dundee, who were great on the day and maybe deserve to pick up all 3 points. We'll get to that when we get to the game recap. But I'm coming in here as a Rangers fan that remembers what success and the tradition that we used to have at this club. Coming into a game and saying, you know what? I didn't fancy us at all. Away for him. That there is maddening, and that there is the perfect summary of how far this club has fallen. That a 1-1 draw versus Dundee away at Dens Park isn't a surprise. It's unfortunately became the norm because we are absolutely pathetic away from home. We are clueless. The tactics do not punish these teams. We are completely all over the place. Again, 4 wins out of 16 away from home, but we all have to happy clap it. Why? Because we won versus Celtic. And I'll be honest, I'm coming into this video after making the Hibs video, right, and I got a lot of flack online, I got a lot of digs, tried to pick fights and try to pick arguments because I titled that Hibs video Igamane is the one and Clement isn't, because again, to me, when I watch these games of football, I'm seeing a team set up without a style, without a shape, and over reliant on individual players to pull this manager out. The shitter players they sort of stumbled across through the actual season, right? That is how I felt after Hibs. A lot of people went mental, and you know what I mean, I felt like apocalypse now. I was getting shot for everywhere because we had just beat Celtic and that is the end all be all. But see, for me, it's no. Yes, it's great. Yes, you've got to enjoy it. Yes, we have fun with the entries. Yes, we're smiling because that's what football is all about. And if you can't enjoy beating your biggest rivals in the biggest games, then football isn't for you. But you've also got to be able to take a big step back and look at the rest and say, by God, this is shocking. Because clearly all of the rest actually is. And I want to narrow in very briefly on the Celtic win, then we can move on, because I want to talk about some of the excuses again and really break down this game of football. But see, I want to run something by each and every single person that's watching today's video. What does this sound like to you? A team that has been playing poorly, is looking rough all season, but when the big games come up against one in the Old Firm, they turn it on. They look like a completely different side. They're winning 50-50s. They're winning duels over the park. Their players are up there. Everyone is on fire, and it's absolutely transformative. It's completely different side, and they take points away from one of the Old Firm sides. And then when they're up to the tip of the top right up here, they fall off the cliff in the next game, and they didn't go ahead and win over the next couple of weeks, taking points off the Old Firm and then falling away, no beating the rest. What does that sound like to each and every single person watching today's video? Yes, it's what we used to laugh, mock and ridicule the likes of Aberdeen for turning up versus Rangers. Guarantee if they beat Rangers they'd get beat next week. That'll be drop points for Kilmarnock next week after beating Rangers. All that stuff we used to mock and all that stuff we used to say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to be nice to hear. Unfortunately, that is what our team has slowly but surely became. The exact same style, the exact same mentality, and the exact same results. That's Aberdeen-esque, if you will, versus us. What about the rest of the league. And you know, I'm sitting here hearing Clement in press conferences, I'm just getting mortified. And honestly, it is embarrassing hearing a Rangers manager sit and make excuses why we aren't winning things, and talking about Celtic's checkbook and how far advanced and all the stuff they can bring off the bench. See that loser mentality? I cannot stand that, especially when you consider the fact that we aren't just playing Celtic all season. We have the advantage over Dundee, who we didn't beat today, St Mirren that beat us, Motherwell, all these teams, Kilmarnock, the teams that we continue to talk about time and time again, that we're throwing points away week in and week out. We have the advantage that Clement's sitting here talking about Celtic have over us, and we didn't even acknowledge it. And for me, that's what absolutely drives me crazy. You can't sit and talk about that other stuff if you can't beat the rest of the league, which you hold the advantage of, and clearly we do, ladies and gentlemen. So that's where my frustrations are, and that's where I'm building up, because I'm watching us slowly but surely accept a team that can turn up versus Celtic and win on this day, and then we've got to accept slop for the rest of the season, because why? We beat Celtic when they were double digit points ahead of us in the league football when we were at home. That's what we've got to accept. That's what we've got to happy clap. No, for me, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I remember what it used to be like, the standard of this club, the tradition, the competitive nature between Rangers and Celtic. Seeing us up there battling, I'm seeing it swing one way, then the other. A helicopter change direction. That's the way it used to be. We used to hammer the rest, and then it was all about old firms. But now it's became all about old firms and no beating anybody else, and that clearly cannot be the mentality that's bred into the club, and it clearly can't be something that's accepted. But if you look at it and look at all the stuff that gets done at this club, it is. I don't like it, and I'll never accept it. I really won't, and I imagine a lot of people that tune into this video are feeling the exact same way and are just fed up accepting the same crap fired their way, the same excuses, the same maddening press conferences, and the same embarrassing stuff peddled out for reasons why we're not winning games of football, right? And even after drawing versus Hibs, I sat back and I read a lot of people's arguments and counterpoints, and like I said, you can't blame Clement because it was this, there was that wrong, and you know what? Fair enough, I'll concede with that one. But you know, coming in this game where we have not beat Dundee up at Dens Park, see this injury crisis we've got, Dundee's gone through, exact same. See the centre-back problem we've got with loads of people who are injured, Dundee's the exact same. See the fact that we're having to play Big Clinton Nisala starting his first game of the season in this game because everyone else is out injured. Well, so did Dundee. They started a 19-year-old making his first appearance so far this season. So there is zero excuses, there's zero reasons why we didn't win the day. But did we even come close to doing it? Honestly, no. So what's the excuse now from Big Phil? What's he going to pander out now? We were absolutely clueless in that game. Our defensive issues are still the problem. We actually weakened our midfield as we went on. And again, the substitutions are what drive me absolutely crazy. And I'm not just saying this now because it never went wrong. If you follow me on social media, the Rabbi Matondo sub for Hadji at halftime, right? Hadji goes off injured. Nothing you can do about that. But he's brought on Rabbi Matondo out from the cold instead of going with Danilo in the game of football, which have allowed the two up top and Barami to go out to the left. You know, the formation that we stumbled on and the thing that Clement stumbled on that saw a bright spark of our season, two up top with the wide tens, if you will, causing some havoc. That thing that was working, do you remember that? Yeah, well, Clement has completely ripped that apart and tried to stay as far away from it as possible since the success of that, because that's no his style and it's clearly no what he wants today. So we've saw the bright spark, the Kilmarnock, the Ross County, the Spurs performance and the cup final performance. It was all bright, it was all positive, and we could see where we're going. We've not seen that since, ladies and gentlemen, and the fact that we went out our way to go to that, to bring on Rabbi Matondo over Danilo, who has again been playing games, or even the likes of Oscar Cortez. Remember, Oscar Cortez started a game randomly a couple of weeks ago, and another game we dropped points in. By the way, it's no him either, it's Rabbi Matondo, who's just made his comeback 3 days ago, or a last game. It is completely maddening, and I do not understand what he's trying to do or where he's actually going. He brought off the likes of Connor Barron and brought on the likes of Ross McCausland and eventually for Ridvan as well. And you're looking at our midfield today, we had Diamande, who again is like a paper bag in the wind versus the physicality, especially in away days. We completely abandoned that laddie in the middle of the park and had Rabbi there, Danilo there, Igamane there, Cerny there, McCausland there. We had everybody just anywhere on the park, and it was a complete mess that only resulted in favouring one team, Dundee, who just bypassed Diamande, completely abandoned abandoned in the middle and created chance after chance in the last 15-20 minutes. Yes, we hit the bar with a screamer effort from Diamande, but again, that is where we're falling. Oh, we got one bar. Dundee should have scored 3 goals because we completely abandoned the middle of the park, the battle we weren't winning anyway. And it's these wee things and it's these wee moments for me that haven't got an excuse, and you can't pretend that it's all working out and it's gonna be fine. These are maddening decisions. It's abandoning game plans of whatever the original game plan was, and I sit back and look and be like, it's genuinely amateur stuff. But I know there's going to be people jumping into the comment section, and I'm probably going to get roasted as badly in this video as I did in the Hibs video, but I can only ever tell you my truth and how I feel in the game and what I'm seeing. I'm never going to tell you what I think you're going to see or what's going to be happy clapped anywhere else. I'm just going to tell you my opinion, rightly or wrong. I just didn't see anything in these games of football. As we've already mentioned, the subs are baffling, the tactics are baffling, the excuses are barking and embarrassing in itself, and that's how I feel about Phil Clement. All the good faith he stole back after that couple game spell where he stumbled onto that formation, the 2 up top, where we're starting to see success, we started to see some brightness. He spat back in to our face by ripping up and never returning to it again. And even in that video where we talked about he didn't deserve to be sacked after the cup final because he's found something there. Well, he's abandoned it now and went back to what he wants to play. But what he wants to play isn't going to bring success to this team. And if it's not going to bring success to the team, why are we persisting and pretending everything is going to be fine? That formation's never going to work. Those baffling substitutions are never going to work. And if you need any evidence on it, look at the last 16 away games. Break them down and have a look at them. It's not good enough, ladies and gentlemen. That's just how I feel. And now that we've spoke a lot about that madness, again, you've then got to get frustration on the players because they are better than that, because we saw it versus the old firm. So why have they got the mentality they can turn up in these moments and play to that level, but then it's acceptable to be dropped? That they could make arguments saying, well, they're getting abandoned in the middle of the park, they're getting dropped left, right and centre, the substitutions are alright, we can keep going wrong on that. But again, I look at Baif and I just see it's a major problem right there. We need somebody in that dugout that's going to hold standards, no make excuses and make baffling claims in press conferences. We need a manager to hold these players accountable and get their levels up to here. So see, when it drops down to what we see every single away game this season long, that it's getting battered at them, it's not getting pandered, not getting, oh, they won the second half, or we're better than the second. We're not needing that. The coddling that Clement's doing, the coddling that Beale done, the coddling that Gio, doesn't work. We need somebody in there to go in and kick arses and get them understanding what actually matters. So as much as my frustrations are with Clement, that for me it is just, it's a long, slow, painful death of what will be his Rangers managerial career. Again, the frustration is also there in the players because they are better than that. They just not showing it. But I am moving away from that. You'll hear the rest of it as we get in to the game recap. We finally saw what can defeat Rangers on a Thursday. It's an away day under a clueless manager. As we came into this game of football, we know too many changes. We know the centre-back position is what it is. Big Clinton came in. He was partnering proper there. He had Ridvan Yilmaz at right back, Jeff Day at left, and Liam Kelly obviously back in the stick. So it's not the perfect scenario to chuck in a young centre-half making his debut. And obviously, he was maybe directly involved in the first goal from Dundee, and people will slaughter him for that. But see, when you consider the chaos and the madness, I actually feel like he got better as the game went on, especially in the second half. And he covered for Proper, who just abandoned his post. So there was in the 60th minute, Proper's made a sprint into the box, causing Igamane to drop into the middle of the park. And I'm sitting looking saying, what the hell are we actually doing? You know, that's our captain on the day away on his holidays, moving the only guy that's got a bit of ounce of quality in the striking position, having to fall back and cover him. So I thought Big Clinton wasn't his best day, and he's not a world-class player overnight. But again, I see a lot of people slaughtering him, saying how pish and bad he looked. Obviously rough, couple here, there and there, but it's always going to be that way, especially when he's joining a team in complete and utter chaos. If he came in there and strolled it, another team would be coming in and signing him in January if he's able to go in there in his first start, making his professional debut and completing and fixing that embarrassing mess. So I'm not going to be too harsh on Big Clinton here. For me, he's not the main problem in there. But the first major talking point in the game of football did start off with an interception. Big Clinton, as he gets the ball, it ends up going down the left hand channel. Jeffy picks out Barami, who's got a wee beautiful instep, brings it in, but he shoots with the wrong foot. I don't know why, ladies and gentlemen, but he balloons it out of the banyan, thinking, okay, decent start, and then Dundee go forward and then all the problems begin. And stop me if you've heard this one before. Dundee take the lead from a defensive disaster from Rangers. Now, the way that it unfolds, you can look at it and keep saying it's unlucky. You can say, oh, they've got all the luck in the world. But at what point does it stop being unlucky and just being what we actually are? And that's inviting this madness. We've got about 4 players trying to block the one shot. It sort of ricochets out to the right. Proper is the one that abandons his post in the middle again to try and run out and stop the cross. It's no Jeffy, it's no Barami cutting back in there, and it's no Hadji coming in there and defending either. It's Proper just abandoning the middle of the park, leaving his man to try out to do it. A cross comes in and it's a brilliant finish from the Dundee wide man, tucking it in to the back of net with a very tidy finish. The ball's actually behind him, he gets his knee above it, bang, right into the back of net, giving Liam Kelly no chance. But the way it did actually start is the cross comes in, Big Clinton hits the ball to the air, that then sort of drops, that the 4 players go for, and it sort of ricochets. So you can look at it directly involved in it. Big Clinton makes a mistake early in a game, but that's when you need your experienced players. That's when you need your leaders. That's when you need your good players to make sure a laddie in the first 5 minutes of his professional debut isn't dealing with low-driven balls coming in to the mixer right away. You know what I mean? You stop that close at the source. We Ridvan Yilmaz, who again I got slaughtered for saying the guy should actually be sold, knew that he's got a wee bit of hype behind him and that. He's got to stop his man, but he's too busy trying to shoot and score every 2 seconds, you know what I mean? I've finally found somebody that cares less about defending than Dav, which is baffling considering how he played versus Celtic, but he's not interested either. It's all forward. So it's a bit of a mess back there. There's everyone to look Jeff's positioning and all that as well, but it's just who we are defensively, and it's no surprise to me we're 6 minutes into the game and we're behind. The 12th minute of the game comes and Dundee nearly score again, and I mention this not only because Dundee nearly put the ball in the back of net, but please, if you're rewatching the game or watching the highlights, I don't know if it's going to be a part of the highlight package right now, look at our set piece defending right now, right? Because it's a corner coming in. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people at the front post. We're doing zonal marking. Everybody loves it these days. It's great things to say with your statistics, but did you see the Dundee players? How many players were there with the 5 players that we had in the zonal marking at the front post? 1 Dundee player. Where was the rest of the players? Standing at the back post with only 2 other Rangers players actually on them. And do you know what Dundee did? Did they force it into the front post where 5 of our players are there? No, they just chip it right to the back post. I think it's Big Silla that gets on the ball. He does it down. There's a couple last ditch blocks from like Jeff and Proper, and we managed to scramble away. But I'm sitting watching saying, is the players not talking to each other? Look at the 5 Dundee players standing at the back post. Does anybody want to take responsibility? Is anybody going to take accountability? And that answer is no. Now, next up, we have one of 2 VAR incidents, which is probably going to dominate most of the news and the clickbait, because that's what football is. You know, you can't talk about games anymore. It's got to be VAR all the time. The first one comes from Simon Murray. There's a cross coming in at the back post. Ridvan kind of, I don't know if he does touch him, if I'm honest with you, right? But then Simon Murray waits to see if he's going to get it, and then does this. Goes down like that, you know what I mean? He Supermans that hole and he's on the deck, and I'm like, well, see if he's fell like that, Ridvan must have really gave him something. Then the replays come up, and does this show you very little, if any, contact? I'm like, well, you got to book him for diving in. We're going to book him? No. Okay, we're not going to book him for diving. It's only Cantwell that gets booked for diving. But anyway, moving on with the game of football. Simon Murray is involved once again as Dundee are just ripping through us in the middle of the park. That's what Raskin-less Rangers midfield looks like, by the way. They just come through us, run right through. They have a shot again. It then bounces up in the air. Big Clinton's coming in. Simon Murray's battling like that. There's a bit of coming together as both of them try to get up. Big Simon Murray's on the deck again, screaming foul and everything. Liam Kelly picks the ball up, smashes out to Hadji, whose first touch is absolutely out of this world. He then plays it into Igamane, who they actually come and try to nail him, by the way, but stands strong, keeps up, we close control, nutmegs the defender, sets off Cerny, who buries it into the back of it. But honestly, the way Simon Murray went down again, I thought, well, that's going to get VAR'd off and there's going to be a penalty given against us. And see, when I seen the images back, Big Clinton stands when he's fit, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, oh no, that's a still image. That looks absolutely dreadful. But football and sense actually prevailed, which I didn't know existed anymore. But even the likes of Chris Sutton and James McFadden, who are always quick to kick in the old boot, these days, both round have said, That's not a penalty, it's just a coming together with both players gone up there for the ball. And I do actually agree with that, but I have seen it given against us, and I've seen it given for other teams. So it's just one of the ones, the way you look at it. It is nice to see some common sense, because it is supposed to be a contact sport. But again, if you break it down with a still image, it looks bad, ladies and gentlemen. And I thought we were a wee bit lucky, because again, we've not really got the luck these days, especially with the VAR calls. But it's no given, the goal is given, and we are well and truly saving our blushes. And I thought to myself, it is funny to then see the reaction online, not for pundits or people that's ever played the game, but be people just saying, it's got to be a penalty. But then remember what people said about Cantwell. Not all contacts are penalty. Do you remember that? Do you remember? Do you remember? Oh, Cantwell is flopping. Remember that? Remember for the media? Remember that for the pundits? Remember that for the fans? Well, why is it different? Because his name's not Todd Cantwell and it's Simon Murray. Yes, he stands on his foot, but does it result in him having to go and jump up 6 feet in the air and hitting the deck like that? No, it doesn't. In the same way I called out Cantwell for those exact semantics when someone pulled him, he's like, and everything like that, I'm going to say the exact same for Mr. Simon Murray. And all the thing I can think of, ladies and gentlemen, is see if he actually stays up. Because I don't think the step on the foot is enough to knock him on the deck. Especially, I don't know why his head went. Do you know why? Do you know why his head went with somebody standing on his feet? I don't know. But I think if he just stands up and lets that ball come down, he's smashing it in to the back of net. And see the cross that he dived for Redvan? I think if he actually just times his jump, he's got a free header there as well. So we're talking about an incident where a player's dropping to the deck when he does get some contact, rather than just stepping up, and putting the ball into the back of net. And I think big Simon Murray's shown in his pass he can take those chances. So you're talking about a decision from a player away for possibly being 3-0 down in the first 30 minutes of this game. But thankfully the player decides to do what he does, and thankfully we've got a hoofball up the park that Igamane can turn in to Sahan and put somebody through on goal. Because that's it, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of big clear-cut opportunities. And after some nearlies and some maybes here, there and everywhere, we get into half-time with the news that Hadji has hurt his back, and on comes no, it's not Danilo, as we've already mentioned. It was actually Rabbi Matondo, and no disrespect to the laddie and everything like that, but I was thinking, we're not getting much space at all to run down. So what's Rabbi Matondo going to do? Has he ever shown his ability to break down the low block in his entire Rangers career? No, his high moments have been Hibs and Celtic, when there was clear gaps for him to run to, cut in and then curl it in to the breadbasket, a move he's tried to replicate 458 times since that and never came close. And I'm sitting saying, why we not just put Barami out there and put Danilo on and went back to the formation and style of football that works? Because every single time over the next 10 minutes that we put the ball in to the attacking areas, Rabbi Matondo was running central into the box ahead of Igamane, and Igamane's having to come out. I didn't want Rabbi Matondo as the number 9. I want our most dangerous player to be in and around our box, but he's that intelligent to know he's got a winger that's just standing in the box. He's got to go there or he's not getting a touch of the football. I'm just sitting watching that play out time and time again. He's going to talk to him. He's going to talk to Rabbi here, because he pulled off Cantwell, embarrassed him in front of everyone 15, 20 minutes in to a European game. He's going to talk to him here. He's going to talk to him. Is he going to do anything? No, he never. And Rabbi was close to being another villain for Rangers as Dundee put the ball in the back of net, but thankfully it was given for offside, and it was inches. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I mean? Rabbi Matondo just getting flung around like an empty pair of jammies. Shock, surprise, they play a ball in, it gets cut across, brilliant finish again, but it's inches, and I mean inches in terms of the line. So we get away with that one. Cerny then hits one low that's brilliantly saved by Carson, and then spoons at the rebound after Igamane picks him out, plays him in to the middle. Brilliant bit of football and everything like that, but it isn't there. Then Cerny gets another chance as the ball comes in from Jeff after a great ball by Barami. Ball sort of falls luckily back to the back post area. It's not like a tap in or that, but Cerny's there again. It forces another good save, and you're thinking, right, come on, it's coming, let's just stay with that. And then Clement, the tinkerer, went to the bench again and brought on Danilo, and I thought, oh my god, is he taking Rabbi Matondo back off here? This is brilliant. This is what needs to happen. No, it's Connor Barron, who wasn't great on the day, certainly not. I'm not going to sit and pretend that he was. But did you see the light switch from us actually having the ball, keeping him pinned in for about 5-6 minutes of the game, to just abandoning the middle of the park today? A horseshoe that Giovanni Van Bronckhorst would be sitting watching with a tear in his eye. Rabbi, Barami, Igamane, Danilo, Cerny, McCausland, Diamande. It was awful, and that is my biggest promise. That is a manager for us throwing everything under the sun because he's not got a clue what to do. That's what the resulting end in that game was. And as you can imagine with the substitutions we're talking about, there was no major opportunities from our Rangers beside Diamande hitting the bar in about the 86th minute after some good play again from Igamane. Picks it out. I think it's Jeff is involved in that as well. Plays it to Barami. Barami then plays it off the old bar. Dundee then had several opportunities to counter during that period as well, just running by the midfield. A lot of cutbacks, a lot of opportunities ballooned over the bar. And I think it's lucky. And then by the time that the full-time whistle goes after some dreadful set pieces, and dreadful corners and dreadful crosses from us to nobody in the middle of the park, you're sitting here watching again more points dropped away. And for me, that is the pinnacle of absolute Clueless what I watched for that. Anybody that's watching, please tell me what the formation was that we played in the last 20 minutes of this game. That was a manager hitting panic stations because he's no got a clue, and there's no point in me trying to pretend that I'm going to defend it this way or say it that way. That's just how I feel. It looked clueless, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't. See, I'd love to be able to defend him. I would love to be able to defend that. But what's the point now? Oh, it's staying. It's pulling us backwards, and it is very, very infuriating. But again, the biggest thing you've got to take away for this game is there is zero excuses for us. You know what I mean? We're not playing against a Celtic team that had 30 million more or anything like that. We've got more resources. We spend a lot more in wages than Dundee. They've got more injuries to us. They've got a centre-back crisis like us. They've got somebody making their debut in this game. And there's nothing else to say bar that. We were not good enough on the day, structurally or as a personnel-wise. Is just kicking the ball at Eggman. And again, the wee laddie leaves the game. Another way assist. Cheney gets his ninth league goal of the season. But it's no good enough, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, I am frustrated, but this is what we're accepting. And now the board's got a very, very big decision to make. If there's anything in that pot to go, you've got to do it now. And maybe, just maybe, the reason we're not seeing signings and we're not seeing guys brought in is they want to just wait and see with Clement, because would you give Clement more money to spend right now the way that he's gone and the way these games are? That's a genuine question for anyone that's still watching me pratter on here and rant on. Would you give this lad what money we actually have to go out and spend people for more of his project the way that it's unfolding on the park? I think if we're being all honest, you'd be a wee bit cautious and you'd be a wee bit slow, because you want to give him whatever money we've got left to waste if we're going to sack him over the next game or two. I don't know, it's a very, very big decision to make the Rangers board's going to need to make, and I'd love to know your opinion down in the comment section. Well, feel free to roast me and all that. If I'm completely wrong and I'm completely off base and you think I'm being an idiot, let me know, ladies and gentlemen. But I just didn't like what I'm seeing in my Rangers team. I don't like what I'm seeing being accepted, and it makes me feel ill that we're now becoming a team that can turn up for the big game but then throw it away after that. All the stuff we used to laugh at, all the teams we used to mock, we have now became, and it's not for me, ladies and gentlemen. At least it's not what I grew up with. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. And as always, I've been Siege over 92. I might be seeing you very, very soon. Until then, take care of yourselves, all the best, and bye-bye.